You know that feeling? That little voice that tells you you're running out of time? That if you haven't made it by 30 or 40, you somehow missed the boat? Well, what if that's just wrong? Today, we're looking at a story that completely flips that idea on its head. It's the story of Falguni Nayar, a woman who shows us that sometimes the real starting line appears right when everyone else is looking for the finish line.
I mean, just look around. The message is blasted at us from everywhere, right? Hustle, grind, get there faster. We're obsessed with the prodigy, the overnight sensation. And all that does is create this constant nagging pressure, this feeling that you're always a step behind.
But this one's different. It's a powerful antidote to all that noise. It's about the quiet art of patience, the wisdom of playing the long game, and maybe most importantly, the incredible power that comes from knowing exactly when to make your move.
So, let's dive in. This story doesn't start with some flash of genius in a college dorm room. No, it starts much quieter, over decades of careful, methodical work. This first part is all about building a foundation, something we'll call invisible capital.
Falguni Nayar's early life in India was, well, pretty conventional. She wasn't one of those people who set out to change the world right away. She actually chose the opposite path: stability, a safe career. And you might think, oh, she wasn't ambitious, but that's not it at all. It was a deep, deep respect for responsibility. She knew you had to build a solid ground before you could even think about taking a leap.
And wow, what a foundation it was. We're talking decades in the super high-stakes world of investment banking. She rose to become one of the absolute top figures in the field in India. But here's the thing, this wasn't a detour from her real dream. It was the dream for that time. It was a training ground. Think about it. Every single year, she was getting a masterclass in how businesses really work. From financial models to dealing with investors, the whole shebang. From a tiny startup to a massive IPO.
And that right there, that's the whole idea. See, for all those years, she wasn't trying to be the fastest. She was trying to be the wisest. Every single deal she made, every challenge she faced, it was like an investment. Not in stocks, but in something way more valuable. A wealth of experience, of knowledge. The kind of capital you can't see on a spreadsheet. And that's the key to this whole story.
Okay, so she spends decades building up this incredible store of invisible capital. So what's the next move? Well, she does something nobody, and I mean nobody, saw coming. She decides to take all that experience, all that wisdom, and bet it all on one single idea. 50. Just let that sink in. 50 years old, an age where most people are thinking about winding down, planning for retirement, right? Not starting a revolution. All the conventional wisdom says, okay, time to play it safe. But for her, it wasn't an endpoint. It was the launch pad. I mean, the expected path was so clear, wasn't it? Kick back, enjoy the fruits of a long, successful career. But she just went the other way completely. She walked away from a powerful, incredibly secure job to dive headfirst into total uncertainty. And that decision just proves something so profound, doesn't it? Courage doesn't have an age limit. It's not just for 20-somethings. It's a choice to bet on yourself, to trust your gut, and to believe in your vision no matter what the calendar says.
All right, so she made the leap, but what did she actually build? And maybe more importantly, how did she do it? Let's get into the philosophy that turned her big idea into an absolute powerhouse. The thing about her company, Nykaa, is that it wasn't born out of some trendy tech idea or a flash of hype. It came from a place of deep, genuine understanding. Falguni Nayar saw something everyone else was completely missing: a silent problem. Millions and millions of women in India just didn't have a place they could trust for quality beauty products, and she just knew they deserved better.
So her strategy, it completely went against that whole move fast and break things mantra we hear all the time from Silicon Valley. Her approach was the exact opposite. It was deliberate. Step 1, solve a real, genuine problem. Step 2, make trust your absolute foundation. That meant no shortcuts, an ironclad supply chain, and authentic products, period. And step 3, grow carefully. She knew that if you rush, you build on sand, and she was building a fortress.
And that really is the heart of her whole philosophy. While all her competitors were just burning through cash, trying to get huge overnight, she was focused on something else: growing sustainably, profitably, because she understood that it's the slow, strong roots that let a tree stand tall through any storm.
Of course, when you decide to take the slow road in a world that's obsessed with speed, well, people are going to have their doubts. So let's talk about how she dealt with all the noise.
And the questions, they came from everywhere. Isn't she, a bit old to be a tech founder? Did she miss the boat on e-commerce?
Why would she leave such an amazing job? The noise, the skepticism, it was absolutely definite.
But this is where all those decades of preparation really came into play. She had the inner confidence to just trust herself. She knew how to separate the signal from the noise. All that doubt, that was just noise. The signal was her deep, deep understanding of the market, her financial know-how, and this crystal clear vision she had. She didn't listen to the noise, she trusted the signal.
And what happened when she trusted that signal? Well, when her company, Nykaa, finally went public, Falguni Nayar became India's richest self-made woman billionaire. A result so massive, so undeniable, it just silenced everyone.
Look, this wasn't a lottery ticket. It wasn't luck. This was the inevitable outcome of a brilliant long-term strategy. You have to understand this. She didn't succeed in spite of waiting. She succeeded because she waited. She waited until her invisible capital was overflowing. She waited until she found the perfect problem to solve. And she waited until she was ready to build something her way, on her own terms.
So when you step back and look at this whole incredible journey, what do you take away from it? Because this is so much more than just a business case study. It's really a philosophy for life, especially for the crazy, rushed world we all live in. Her philosophy is really one of quiet confidence. It's about simple things, really. Believing in balance, always thinking long-term, focusing on building something real, not just proving something to others, and understanding that the most real, lasting success, it's often built quietly, far away from the spotlight.
And this brings us to what might be the most powerful message of all, especially if you're one of those people who feels like you're late to the party. What if you're not late? What if, just like Falguni Nayar, you're just preparing? You're building up your own invisible capital, getting ready for your moment. You're not late. You're getting ready. Because when you boil it all down, her story is just a powerful reminder of a really simple truth. Success doesn't look at your birth certificate. It doesn't care how old you are. It cares about your vision, your preparation, your courage, and your patience.
Think about it. She started at 50 and built a legacy, an absolute empire. Her journey proves that life isn't a race against everyone else. It's a journey of preparing for your own unique moment. So that leaves just one question, really. What are you getting ready for?